Hi, today we are going to discuss about ER diagram and its constraints. First we can discuss what is a ER model. Entity relationship diagram, ER diagram in DBMS. An entity relationship model, ER model, describes the structure of a database with help of a diagram, which is known as entity relationship diagram, ER diagram. An ER model is a design or blueprint of a database that can be later be implemented as a database. The main components of ER model are entity set and relationship set. And then what is an entity relationship diagram? An ER diagram shows the relationship among entity set. An entity set is a group of similar entities, and these entities can have attributes. In terms of DBMS, an entity is a table or attribute of a table in database. By showing the relationship among tables and attributes, ER diagram shows the complete logical structure of a database. And the facts about ER diagram model are: ER model allows you to draw database design. It is an easy to use graphical tool for modeling data, widely used in database design. It is a GUI representation of logical structure of database, and it also helps you to identify the entities which exist in a system and the relationship between those. And then next one is why use ER diagram. Here the prime reason for using the ER diagram is it helps us to define terms related to entity relationship modeling, and also provide a preview of how all the tables should connect, what fields are going to be on each table, and helps to describe the entities, attributes, and then relations. ER diagram are translatable into relational tables, which allow you to build database quickly. ER diagram can be used by database designers as a blueprint for implementing data in specific software application. And the components of ER diagram are mainly entity, attribute, and relation. In entity, we are having strong entity and weak entity. In attributes, we are having key attribute, composite attribute, multi-valued attribute, and derived attribute. Coming to the relationship, we are having one-to-one relation, one-to-many relation, many-to-one relation, and many-to-many relationship. These entity, attribute, and relation are the three main components of a ER diagram. Then what is an entity? An entity is an object or component of data. An entity is represented as a rectangle in an ER diagram. For example, in the following ER diagram, we have two entities. The one entity will be the student and the other entity is the college. Considering the student and college, these are the real world entities, and these two entities have many to one relationship, as many students in a single college is studying. Many students are studying in one particular college is the relationship like M to 1. And the next we are going to discuss about what is a strong entity. The strong entity has a primary key. Weak entities are dependent on the strong entity. Its existence is not dependent on any other entity. And strong entity is represented by a single rectangle. Strong entity, we represent it with a single rectangle. A weak entity that cannot be uniquely identified by its own attribute and relies on the relationship with other entity is called a weak entity. In weak entity, we are representing it with a double rectangle, and the example for the weak entity is a bank account cannot be uniquely identified without knowing the bank to which the account belongs. Bank account is a weak entity here. And we are also having weak relation. In a weak relation, the weak entity is a type of entity which doesn't have its key attributes. It can be identified uniquely by considering the primary key of the another entity. For that, weak entity set need to have participation. Consider that we are having a ATM. The ATM is having ATM ID, address, and timing. And also the transactions happening in that particular ATM is also there. So ATM is there and transaction is happening. So this is known as the weak relationship or the weak entity relationship. So now we can discuss about the difference between the strong entity and weak entity. So strong entity set always a primary key and it is represented by a rectangle symbol. It contains a primary key represented by the underlined symbol. The member of a strong entity is called the dominant entity set. The primary key is one of the attributes which helps to identify its member. In ER diagram, the relationship between two strong entities set shown by using a diamond symbol. So the connecting line of the strong entity set with the relationship is a single. And the weak entity set, it does not have enough attributes to build a primary key. It is represented by a double rectangle symbol. It contains a partial key which is represented by a dashed underline symbol. The member of a weak entity set called as subordinate entity set. So in a weak entity, it is a combination of primary key and partial key of the strong entity set. And the relationship between one strong and one weak entity set shows by using the double diamond symbol. And then the line connecting the weak entity set for the identifying the relationship is also double. So that's all for today's class. Thank you. Have a nice day.